안녕하세요. 여보세요입니다. 감사합니다. We're back with Les Sserafim today. It's been a while, right? Anti-Fragile would have been the last track. And then Fearless before that. So I figured it was about time. We've done a couple of the earlier generation groups, I wanted to go through some of those. So we hit up like FX and Nine Muses and a lot of those sort of earlier generation groups. And so I will check out more from them, of course. But we also have the newer generation groups. A couple, well, more than a couple that we still have to check out and get into, kind of. And it's been super busy with everything that's been going on with Twice, and just there's a lot of things happening right now. But that's a good thing. That's never a problem, right? So let's check out Impurities from Les Sserafim. Interesting, man. Interesting. I didn't like when I first heard the title of the song Impurities, I was thinking perhaps more like as in a lack of innocence, maybe a little bit naughty or something like that. That type of not pure itty, you know what I mean? But what this is actually talking about is flaws, like it's a natural state of like not being perfect, you know what I mean? So it's a lot softer than I would have thought, or than I had anticipated. Serious choreography in this. It's like they were putting in some work as far as the dance parts to this video here. And so I can imagine performing the performance of the track. Sort of like I mean, it's definitely an R&B style. So there's a bit of a throwback, kind of old school charm to it. This is mainly like its structure, its overall style. But what was interesting was the choices for the different instrument voicings, like in the mix. They're much more contemporary. It isn't a throwback style with also the instrumentation. This is very much a modern and contemporary type of digital sound that's going on, but it's those elements are being used in a almost like a 90s style song, and it's so a little something new, a little bit something throwback, also little bit of a mix there. It works quite well, actually. Let's see. There was a nice change up between the sections. Second verse section that came around, also the bridge was very nice. Very melodic. You know what I mean? Very not as punchy as the others, like Anti-Fragile or I'm Fearless. But a song like that was very driving. It was very like boom, 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 boom. Like it wouldn't stop. It just kept going and going. And this is much more laid back. It kind of swings. The percussion, the kick, right? There's an interesting thing going on with the kick where there's a 16th note rhythm that's being used here. It's kind of like a double stop, basically, but it happens on one. So, like, if you were to count 1 yen, a 2 yen, a 3 yen, a 4 yen, a 1, if you listen to the kick, that's what it's playing. A 1, 2, 3, 4. A 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is what kind of pulls you into the swing of the song, that pulls you into the light, dancey type of a feel that it has. And there was also a part, maybe it was bridge. It's somewhere in there where it's a bit of a change up. I think it was the bridge. Most of the mix sounds kind of dropped out, and there was a very predominant keys sound. It's some sort of synth keys sound, like maybe a digital organ type of a sound. But it's playing maybe half notes, or maybe even whole notes, but it's coming in on the ands. It's not coming in on the downbeats. It's coming in on the upbeats. I feel like it was half notes, and so it's quite syncopated, especially compared to what the percussion work was doing, emphasizing the one, which is really interesting. usually, a pop songs, like, you get that accent on the 2 and the 4, like we see in countless examples, right? Like your snare hits, and but there's a more of an emphasis on the 1, because of that little sort of double stop that's being used in the kick, which is going to give it a more traditional type of dance style feel. You know what I mean? Like, if you think in terms of classical dance styles and stuff, the beats always going to be emphasized on the 1 and the 3, so that you know when the step comes, like when you're supposed to be there. So it's actually quite interesting in those regards. It's let's see, it's got that one, what was it, can you see me, huh? Or can you feel me, huh? That's, I think, right before the chorus. That's probably the biggest hook in the song. Other than that, it's just so it's definitely a mood. Like it's a vibe. It's a very, very smooth, a comfortable vibe. It's a nice, it's actually a nice, like, side of them, of the group. If I'm thinking about Fearless and Anti-Fragile, and those were very, like, a little more edge, just a little more, like, kind of, how would you call it, like, a little bit more attitude, a little bit more, like, this is a little bit softer, which makes sense now as far as the concept, right? The impurities, like, I'm going to show you a more natural, flawed, it's not, for lack of a better term, a more vulnerable side. It's not the strong defensive side. It's not that side that is on the attack, or this is a little bit more raw, a little bit more exposed, if you will. Very interesting ambient sounds in the beginning too. So it was like a light psychedelic type of a feel to it. So sounds that maybe would have also kind of remind me of 90s stuff. Anything that was psychedelic, though, I can't pin down an example, but it has that characteristic of it. These. Yeah, almost swirling backwards, right? Reverse type of sound to it. Oh, see, now we're getting so you do have an accent on the 2 and the 4, definitely. That, like, it's a narrow type of percussion sound, not quite pitched, but it sits kind of high, especially in this mix, right? And those very warm synth keys sounds, Oh, what is that? It could be electric piano. It could be something else, though. It's quite quirky. It's quite unique, right? The specific key sound that's being used for this. A 1, 2, 3, 4. A 1, 2, 3, 4. A lot of 16 note subdivision and vocal rhythms as well. It's not it's there's not heavy syncopation in the vocals, which is what makes it so laid back. The rhythms there fall exactly where you want them to, and it's kind of like the most anchored part of the mix. Then also much more syncopation throughout the instrument voicings, but it makes the vocal performance of it, like, super smooth. You know what I mean? It's a nice phrasings where maybe the first couple of bars are more of the 16th notes, and then towards the end you start to get maybe a eighth note or even a whole note, sort of building up to it. But it's very, very concise, but also very consistent, like very stable. Like I said, everything falling exactly where your ear definitely wants it to. Oh, the bass that just came in right now. I think this is pre-chorus section. That sounds so good, dude. It's not like a massive bass, but it's very warm. Boom, 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 boom. I think, hold on, I can't tell if it's right or left. But it was an awesome bass sound. Also, the snare hits on these are like, they're super snappy, man. It's very it's rather narrow, and the compression is super tight around it. It doesn't have a lot of space to sort of ring out. It's a very, very snappy, like sharp, like hit whenever that snare comes around. It's a very cool mix. It's like super cool. The bass is more left, but still pretty close to the middle. The tambourine. There's a tambourine in this. Chinka 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 chinka. It's on this. It's 16 notes. It's a tambourine. Oh, great change up. Great change up. Vocal parts, vocal rhythm. Excellent change up right there. She was much like sort of broken up, almost staccato, right in the beginning. The da 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 da, short, right? And as soon as that phrase was over, everything now is much more tied together, right? The vocal rhythms are much more they're all connected, right, as she's singing these parts. Oh, that bass. The bass part on this is awesome. This section. I think those keys are coming up. Yeah. It's the ands. That's not on your downbeats. That's on the upbeats, and it's such a cool. I think it is half notes. The way it fits, in between, especially what the percussion rhythm is, right? It's very, very cool, man. It's cool because that longer duration, tying together half notes, it creates this like, what'd you call it? Almost like a something woven underneath it that's very supportive of the whole overall song structure. It's a crazy way that's used. It's just, it works really, really well, especially to change the color a little bit here. Overall, the song is very warm. It has a very warm, like, tone color and everything. It's very warm. bright. Definitely on the bright. Even the bass parts, right? In that pre-chorus bass line that comes around, it's kind of high, like for the bass notes. That octave that it's playing in is a little bit higher than what you might normally hear, but it keeps everything in that warm, almost very organic. The tambourine sound is wonderful. Those type of instrument voicings are what give it a natural type of feel or characteristic. You know what I mean? The harp, there's a quite like a rake of some string sound. It sounds like a harp. It comes right at the end. Brink. It's because it's kind of a brittle. It's kind of a brittle sound, but not shrill, right? But it is a little bit of a brittle sound. The only thing it's panned right. The only thing I can try to identify, it sounds like a harp to me, like somebody is doing like brink, like both hands, just a very quick kind of a rake across the harp strings there. It very, very different side of Les Sserafim, but it's super cool. It's a fantastic mix. Like I said, there's the choices for the different instrument sounds in this mix are extremely clever. They work so perfectly for this style of song, for this very R&B centric type of style here and song structure. Very interesting things going on though. It's all patterns. It's all very, very clever patterns that have been used in the different elements of the mix, and it maintains this warm, dancing quality to it. It gives plenty of space for the vocals to do a lot. They do make use of it as far as the rhythms are concerned, with all of the room that they have to change up the rhythms and the vocal parts. Although they never they don't do too much on the vertical, I guess, right? It's kind of concise there. It's the horizontal, they're definitely moving it, definitely changing it up, but there's a certain space that they stay within as far as the vertical is concerned, and it's probably a good idea because it might be too much. It might be too strong with how warm the overall sound of the mix and every part is. Everything, like I said, including the bass, is already sitting up a little bit higher than it normally would. So if you were to try to do something in the vocal part that is really laying into the vertical aspect of it, it might come off a little bit too strong, and that might spoil the mood, like the feel of the song. You know what I mean? But interesting in that regard, because like I said, and my initial thought was like, Impurities, this is going to be something a little bit perhaps a little bit naughty or something like that, something that lacks innocence, kind of. but it was quite the opposite. Like, it wasn't that at all. It was very much like showing that natural, organic, flawed, not perfect, a little bit vulnerable, not putting up a fight, not keeping a guard up, not going on the offensive. So it's a different side of Les Sserafim, right? Of the fearless ones. It's a different side. It's, but it's very cool. It's very cool. It's a great song. It's really, really great songwriting and composition too. The composition of this, like I said, the different patterns that are being used throughout the mix here in all these different voicings, and the specific selections for your different sounds in here. It was great. It's great, man. It just, to hear like that kind of punchy R&B, almost hip hop drums going on, right? With a bass that almost was like a little bit house, even, like it was so laid back, and then the sort of synth keys that come in also, and then the tambourine sound. Like it's a great mix. It's such a great mix. The different sounds that are actually in this, even the harp sound. You know what I mean? Like and the bass sound that's definitely played. Like that's not synth bass. That's not on the keys or whatever. That's somebody playing the bass part. So this organic quality to the mix that comes from playing those types of instruments and playing them, not looping samples or whatever, but having an actual person play those different parts. That's what gives it that natural and also vulnerable quality to it. That's what does that, along with their vocal performance and the like I said in the beginning, the choreo on this is like non-stop. I mean, they're putting in some work as far as the choreography goes. So again, it also makes sense in terms of the staying within a certain range for the vocal part, because this is a lot of steps, man, for the choreography, and they're good. They're very good at it, man. Like Seraphim is I'm sure among the fandom, and even if I were to read some more reviews and stuff, I'm sure that they get enough credit for it. But I guess for myself, I don't like, it's not until I watch the video and I actually see them doing the choreography parts that I go, wow, this group is like actually really good at the dance parts. Like you know what I mean? Do not underestimate the choreography aspect of it, because they're very, very good, man. They're very good. It was great. It was a great song, man. It was great video, great song, absolutely great vibe, and a nice different side to Les Sserafim, right? From a different side of the those fearless ones who are not fragile, or at least they aspire to be fearless and not fragile, but they're still people, right? So they still have a little bit of a vulnerable and imperfect side to it. So it's very cool, man. Les Sserafim Impurities. What a great vibe, right? What a great throwback. Very, very. It's smooth and it's warm. It's a smooth and warm R&B type of vibe to it. It's very, very cool.